You see that camera that I haven't been looking at this whole time? This whole time I haven't even been looking at it. But I took out some money to pay for this one. And now we're going to look at it a lot more now that I realized it. But, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't have to doom spend for it. I didn't have to go into debt for it. It was just, okay, let me take it out of this savings account that's just, for a rainy day or whatever the case may be, or a business expense, whatever. I just have this extra money. Let me go and get another camera. I got a good deal on it. Let's rock with it. Yo, what's good? It's Goody Latrell in a hoodie, and welcome to another episode of the Brother Next Door podcast, where we talk about finance, personal development, and skills to get you further in life, through actual steps, and my own personal experiences. In this episode, we're talking about doom spending. So let's get right into it. What is doom spending? Doom spending is when you're spending money because you're pessimistic about the current economy or your life. And so understand, times are hard, right? Let's not get it misconstrued. Let's not, even try to play about that. Times are hard. Things are getting expensive. Inflation's going crazy. Loans are going crazy. Interest rates are going crazy. Just lowered it a little bit, but it's not, it's not doing enough for the economy. And so what are people doing? They are spending money because times are hard, and they just honestly believe that spending money is the solution. Spending money will make them happy, right? Spending money is a coping mechanism for what they are currently going through. And you got to understand that is not the answer. Spending money on TikTok Shop is not the answer, fam. And so we're going to get right into it. We're going to obviously go deeper into why people are doom spending, the reasoning behind it, some resources, what I'm doing to prevent myself from doom spending or getting to that point, and then, some other resources that you can check out in this episode. So definitely stay tuned until the end. Understand 96% of Americans are concerned about the current state of the economy, and more than a quarter are doom spending. More than a quarter are doom spending to deal with the stress. An Intuit Credit Karma survey with over 1,000 Americans found back in November of 2023. 96% of Americans are concerned. A quarter of them are doom spending. Family, that's too many people. Quarter is not. No, that's too many people. That's a lot of people spending just because they're struggling, right? Like, think about it. You're spending because you feel like you're not going to really get too far, right? And it's crazy, and you're losing hope. So it's like, let me go ahead and just spend what I have. Also, understand only 36% of adults globally feel like they're doing better than their parents financially, while 42.8% think they are actually worse off than their parents, according to CNBC's International Your Money Financial Security Survey, right, conducted by SurveyMonkey, which questioned 4,342 adults globally. And so, guys, these are scary numbers. It makes sense, right? I understand why people feel like they're not going to do better than their parents. I understand why people feel like they're going to be worse off, or are worse off, or will be worse off than their parents. And, the numbers are showing it. Inflation is showing it. Like, it's very hard to buy a house, right? It's hard to pay for, all your groceries, let alone a whole house. So I completely understand it. But understand there are other ways of going about dealing with stress, dealing with anxiety, dealing with, whatever it is you're feeling in this moment. And so what are the easy ones, right? Going to the gym, right? Exercising, letting that anger, letting that frustration, letting that sadness, whatever you're feeling, letting that out through a physical outlet of, working out, whether that's running, whether that's hitting the gym, whatever, Pilates, whatever it may be, right? Doing a sport. But letting that out and just being able to be with the team, being with other people, and just being in community with others, and just taking your mind off work and or school or whatever you're currently doing, Just being able to take your mind off that thing for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours every single week, and just doing something you truly enjoy with others is a great outlet for the stress you're feeling. And so, strongly consider working out. I'm definitely biased with that, but strongly consider going to the gym. Other thing, you can go right. You can whatever. Go try new things. Right. Take yourself out on dates. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many other things you can do to be able to responsibly, right? Don't doom spend by taking yourself out, spending crazy amounts of money on dinner. But you know what I'm saying? Take yourself out to a nice, decently nice spot that you can afford. Splurge on yourself a little bit, make yourself feel good, and then get back on track to spending your money wisely. But don't let how you feel affect your future financial state, right? The government's already doing that enough, right? The economy's already doing that enough. Don't do that to yourself by just spending mindlessly especially on these apps, especially on TikTok, especially on Amazon, especially you got that Prime account, so you get that mess the same day. Like don't fall into that trap, because I am not gonna lie, I've fallen into that same day same day delivery trap. It it could be a wealth killer, right? It could be a budget killer, not even a wealth killer, but a budget killer. So be very careful when it comes to these apps and comes to these websites. Just spending money just because. Understand there are a couple of reasons why doom spending happens. One is because of how you feel, right? You just feel like you got to do it. But another is because you've seen how your parents spent money. You've seen how relatives or your guardian spent their money while growing up. For my parents, getting, new cars, getting the loan on the cars, all that good stuff. And of course, they said, everything, every parent said, look, money don't grow on trees. We can't afford it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But they were able to afford me and my brother a comfortable life without a doubt. Like, no doubt about it, no shame, whatever, no shade, nothing. They definitely were able to provide me and my brother a comfortable life growing up, getting us, most of the stuff we wanted. Of course, we didn't get everything we want. You shouldn't be getting your kid everything they want in the first place. But for the most part, they gave us, most of the stuff we want every single year. So no issues there whatsoever. But it was still in my head, it was opposite for me, right? So for some people, they see how their parents lived, they see how their parents dealt with money, and then they follow in their footsteps. But for me, it's kind of the opposite, because I don't want that excuse to be we can't afford it or we don't have the money for it. My excuse is you too spoiled and you don't deserve that thing right now. Work for it, and then I might consider getting you that item or that trip or that car, or whatever the case may be, whatever my kids or spouse or whoever wants. But I never wanted to be like a money issue. I never wanted to be we just seriously can't afford it. And so that's my driving force behind it. Me personally, I just didn't like hearing that response of we just can't afford it or we don't have the money for it, which sometimes they really did have it, sometimes they didn't, because it was just a ridiculous ask that I had. But ask that I had, let me be very clear. But but I want my kids to know, hey, we're good and we can afford a lot of stuff. But, we're not going to just be spending money just to be spending. We're not going to be spending money just because, the economy's going bad and let's just, spend it while we got it. We're not going to do that, right? And so that's my driving force behind my financial literacy journey, my journey of becoming wealthy at someday, right? So definitely think about where your ideas and where your knowledge of money came from. Did it come from your parents? Did it come from your friends? Did it come from YouTube channels? Did it come from your brother next door? Who did it come from, right? But you want to figure that out. That way you know the behind the scenes of why you're thinking the way you think and why you spend the way you spend. And so definitely consider why you're spending the money that you're spending. The next thing, and this is a big tip from me that I've, implemented and I use every single day, is having as little resistance as possible. What do I mean by this concept? This is a very big concept in my life that I've made up. Maybe it's out there, I don't know, but I made it up in my mind, and it's just having as little resistance as possible. What does this look like? I personally don't have any dependents. I don't have a wife or girlfriend. I don't have a large rent bill, and I don't have, what was the other thing? A car payment. Those are the major, four things you're dealing with in life, especially as a young adult or as, older adult, whatever the case may be, a seasoned adult, as one might say. You're dealing with one of those four things, or, children, whatever. And so I don't have children. I don't have dependents. I don't have all that good stuff. And I also have a good paying job. So I have a lot of money coming in. I have a lot of stuff that's not taking that money away, right? And a lot of money's flowing through that channel, right? Flowing. Think of it as a pipe, right? And water's flowing into it. The water that's coming in is your income. The money that's not going to the end of that pipe is your, liabilities, right? Liabilities or dependents. And then at the end of that pipe is your, financial goals and all that good stuff. And so my goal is to have as least resistance, as least leaks as possible. Now, understand, please, let me be clear. Life happens, right? Some people got kids. Some people got a spouse. Some people got a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Life happens. So I'm not saying, get rid of your responsibilities. But what I am saying is, for me, my goal is to have as least resistance as possible in every area of my life. So I knew starting out, okay, let me not jump into a relationship, right? I got out of a relationship, so let me not jump into another one. I have very little resistance. So we're going to move back to the mom's crib. We're going to stay with her, pay her a little bit of rent, and then take care of, things around the house, whether, I had to buy some sod. And if sod is expensive. So it almost comes out to paying, having a regular rent payment. But, I take care of stuff around the house, whether it's food, whether it's, a couple groceries here and there, whether it's taking care of yard work, whatever the case may be. But, I carry my weight around the house. And so that's taken care of. I'm not paying, thousands of dollars a month on a place to live. Dependents. I don't have any dependents. That's for later on period in life. Praise God. Next, I don't have a car payment. That's definitely a choice, right? You could make the argument, well, Latrell, I need something dependable. Latrell, I want, I don't want to have to go to the shop all the time. Yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. But you can find a dependable Camry. You can find a dependable just a Toyota in general, right? There are dependable cars that you can buy for cash. Whether it's $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, you can get a dependable car. I'm not saying you gotta do like me and get a 21-year-old car, but have a low car payment. Don't doom spend, right? Don't. Oh, I gotta get the Mercedes. I gotta get the Lexus, right? Like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to doom spend in order to live a good. Because I'm living a good, comfortable life. No car payment. No high rent payment. Life's real comfortable right now. It's real comfortable while I'm attacking this debt. Life is very comfortable. And so you don't have to go into large amounts of debt. You don't have to pay large amounts of money in order to feel, good or satisfied or whatever the case may be, whatever you're chasing. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get that. You could spend a very little amount and probably feel a lot better. I guarantee you're going to feel a lot better. So practice having as little resistance as possible. So for me, like I said, going back to it, I kind of went off on a little tangent. But first goal, pay off all my debt once I graduate. We're almost there, right? Very little leaks in my pipe. So most of my money is going to paying off my debt, not to a spouse, not to kids, not to whatever the case may be. It's going to a couple of, things here and there, hanging out with friends, whatever the case may be, food, whatever. Gas, of course, insurance. But most of my income is going to paying off the debt. Then once the debt's paid off, okay, let's get an emergency fund. Okay, now that I have an emergency fund, let's get out the house, right? Let's go and get up out that thing. And now we're out that thing. Now we have emergency fund. Now if something breaks or something, whatever happens, cool. If the insurance doesn't cover all of it, bow. I got money to take care of it, especially since I'm renting. Most of that stuff the landlord's going to take care of anyway. But if I do need to take care of something like my car, I have the money to pay for it. And there's not a lot of stress on me when something does break down, because 9 times out of 10, I'm going to fix it myself anyway. There's not a lot of resistance financially in my life. Your goal is to have the least amount. We should have just titled this. This should have been the main topic, just having the least amount of resistance as possible when it comes to finances. But that's what you want. And doom spending will get in the way of having the least resistance. Break down your goals into smaller goals. Understand once I took out my last loan, I added it all up. It was around $55,000. From what I was paying while in school to when I took out that very last loan, it was at $55,000. So I was like, I can't think about that number, because that number is way too big, right? At that point, I don't think I've even made 55,000 in a year. And so that number was just way too big for me, right? And so I was like, you know what? We just gonna break it down to each loan. And that's what I've been doing. I got a whole series on it. You can look at it, check out those videos. I talk about something a little bit different every time I pay off each student loan. New video coming soon in like a month or two, coming soon. Get ready for it. But I'm down to my last private student loan, which is very exciting. So I'll be private student loan free. Then all I'll have is my federal student loans, and then we're gonna knock that out next year. But every single time I paid it off, it felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. Whether it was the $5,000, a $6,000 loan, or I think the biggest one I've paid off so far is the $13,000 loan. And so understand, doing those smaller goals are lifting big, heavy weights off my shoulders every single time. And so now I don't have to think about, oh man, it's going to be a whole 6-7 months 8 months before I pay off this 55,000. Now it's like, okay, let me take care of this 6,500. Okay, let me take care of this $13,000 loan. Okay, let me take care of this $11,000 loan. And now it's broken up into 3 or 4 month, maybe 5 month increments compared to a whole year. So break down your goals into smaller goals, whether it's saving. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna just save $1,000 every single paycheck. That's what my savings is at like 1,700. My high yield savings, I have a direct deposit, or not direct deposit, but automatic deposit to that account that comes out of my checking account every single paycheck, every single payday, bi-weekly, $100. and I'm not really paying attention to it. Every once in a while, I'll check, and like today, I checked. I was like, hold on, there's a whole $1,700 up in there. Buy $200 every single month. That's it. $200 every single month. Now I'm at 1,700. Mind you, I depleted it last year in order to get the car, right? In order to buy the car that I had. And so I've already built it back up to, 1,700. And I'll do an extra payment here and there, whatever the case may be, take some out every once in a while. But for the most part, I don't really touch it. I took it out to get one of these cameras. You see that camera that I haven't been looking at this whole time? This whole time I haven't even been looking at it. But I took out some money to pay for this one. And now we're going to look at it a lot more now that I realized it. But, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't have to doom spend for it. I didn't have to go into debt for it. It was just, okay, let me take it out of this savings account that's just, for a rainy day or whatever the case may be, or a business expense, whatever. I just have this extra money. Let me go and get another camera. I got a good deal on it. Let's rock with it. And that's exactly what I did. And I didn't have to go to debt for that camera. Next was building up my retirement account, right? Understand that's only 6%. It's only 6% of my income that goes to my retirement. And I don't even see that money at all. Why? Because it's taken right out of my paycheck. I don't even know what the paycheck looks like without it. Because as soon as I got the promotion after graduating, I immediately started, letting that 6% go straight to the 401k. And lo and behold, a year later, I'm already at $10,000 plus. That's 11,000 something in that account. Just by letting that money auto direct into that account every single payday. So it doesn't have to be strenuous. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't, I don't know. Just set up auto pay. Just literally set up auto pay. And then every once in a while, just check the accounts, make sure they're good. And you have nothing to worry about. And so we're talking about what, 2, 3, I don't even know how much I don't even know how, I think it's 300-400 every bi-weekly. And so that's just going into the account bi-weekly. And so that goes in there. I don't see it. And it's just building up my retirement fund. Last but not least, resources, and then we are done. My top resources are Dave Ramsey as well as the Money Guys. Now, obviously, these are cookie cutter, right? These are, get the list, get the steps, and then, follow it. It's a one size fits all. And so understand, if you really want it tailored to your specific situation, then you're going to want to see a financial advisor. I am not a financial advisor, but I just want to let you in on my life, what I'm doing, how I'm moving as a young individual, stepping into life, stepping into the same economy y'all stepping into, right? And just trying to navigate this thing called life. So if you like, hey, Latrell, I'm struggling. Look, I'm not even doomed. I don't even have money to doom spend. I'm over here living paycheck to paycheck, going into debt just to pay for groceries. That may be you. I'm sorry you're in that situation. I hope that your situation gets better. But if that's your situation, right, if you just don't have the extra money to get a financial advisor or, get specific advice, then look into Dave Ramsey or look into the Money Guys. Both of them have YouTube channels. Both of them go in depth with their money steps to becoming financially free. I follow a hybrid of both to a certain extent. As far as my journey, some of them say, pay off all your debt first and then start investing. But me, I'm investing as well as paying off the debt at the same time. And so it's more so, what your preference is, what works for your situation, because they don't know your situation. Only you know your situation. But a financial advisor could know your situation and be able to help you out. if you can afford it. So, rather than doom spending, for the people that are just doom spending, got the extra money to doom spend on a financial advisor. Let's do that. Let's doom spend on a financial advisor. That way they can get you out the doom and out the gloom and get you to prosperity. So let's let's try that out for a change, family. I hope you guys are enjoying the episode. If you did enjoy this episode and you've been following, you've been rocking, you've been a reoccurring viewer or listener, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You've already watched me multiple times. You've already watched the whole episode you watched multiple episodes in its entirety multiple times. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's free for you. It helps me out. It gets the word out about the brother next door, trying to help y'all out when it comes to all this stuff financially, when it comes to, mentally, and just trying to figure out life as a young adult. So take them nuggets, run with them, do your own research, look more into the stuff I talked about today, and don't just take my word for it. Do your own research and make sure it works for you. Make sure doom spending isn't something that you are doing and don't even realize you're doing. And let's become better today. Y'all take it easy. Peace.